Hey guys, it's Jamie Pfeffer, and I'm back with a special oracle card reading just for empaths. So if you are an empath or you know an empath, I hope that you will let them know to come on over to this channel. And normally I do pick a card readings, but I've really been feeling some intense energy myself recently. And I just felt the need. I felt like my higher power and source was really guiding me to do a reading that is specific for empaths. So that is what I'm doing today. So if you are new to my channel, I hope that you will take a couple moments to subscribe. Today and tomorrow are the last days to get in on my new contest that I'm doing. And whoops. That is a contest for getting a free one-card reading from me. And I do read tarot, oracle. I'm also a psychic and a medium. I do animal spirit cards, animal spirit readings, lots of other things. So you'll get a free one-card reading if you win and a copy of my Unblocking Abundance meditation. And also, this is live. This is the first time I've ever done a live video, so it is a little bit different. But if anyone is here and you are watching, you are listening, you are receiving any type of guidance, I would love it if you would say something. That would be amazing, because then I'll know whether anybody is actually on. So right now I'm actually writing, "Hi, everyone." So we will see if there's anybody else that comes along. I know that it's kind of an interesting time, although I look at the clock and it says 1, 2, 3, 4. So for me, that means everything is in right order. I'm hoping that the audio on this will be live and that you can hear what I'm saying. So first up, I'm going to pull a card from Louise Hay, and I think it's her Power Thoughts deck. I don't know. I don't have the box that the deck came in anymore, but I love these cards so much that I had to get them. So here is the first message. Oh, okay, I can see. So the first message that I'm getting, for the empaths out there is, wow, beautiful. This is awesome. So it says, I have a wonderful relationship with my friends, family members, and coworkers. I am appreciated. So if you are an empath, I find that a lot of times the empath blueprint, as I'll call it, will go hand in hand with the overgiver personality. And the reason that that happens at times is because empaths have the ability to sense and feel energy. And we are so sensitive to that energy at times that we can want to bring the energy in our atmosphere into harmony, because obviously if you feel something and it doesn't feel good, you want to do what you can to get rid of that disharmony. At least that's what I like to do. So I find that I will feel out. This used to be a very unconscious thing for me, but I would feel out into the atmosphere to see what was going on, what other types of energy were there. And I would end up feeling an energy that didn't feel good. And so as a result of that, I would try to bring the energy back to a point of harmony for me, which means that if I am doing that pattern, I'm really maintaining that I'm the one that needs to take on the work, and I'm the one that needs to bring that atmosphere up into a higher reality, so I in turn give more. This is actually something that I'm dealing with in my own life right now, just in terms of the fact that I see and feel things that many other people don't. And although these people may not be aware of it, I still feel and see what's going on. Yeah, so I mean, that obviously is nothing new to me, but it does become interesting when you're in relationships with people and the behaviors are actually hurting you. Up until this point, I've really spent a lot of time over the past 5 to 7 years, learning how to speak up for myself and learning how to ask for what I want and to set boundaries and things like that. Yesterday, I was actually told that I can't force anybody to change their behavior, which of course I realize. But there was this whole idea that almost like it's wrong for me to ask for things, I'm not asking people to change their behaviors, but I do leave when I need to leave. So anyways, oh, beautiful. So the next card, if you're an empath, is I am safe in all my relationships and I give and receive lots of love. So, I think that as an empath, if you are an empath, a lot of times because we can feel definitely much more than anybody else can. And oftentimes, if you do go on a spiritual path, which I believe a lot of empaths do, we are mirrored back a distorted image. We are not mirrored back what it is that we're actually feeling or seeing or hearing. So as a result, I found, at least for myself, I can speak for myself, that if I get this mirroring that is distorted, a lot of times I will take it on as something that I did. So something that I'm learning and that I think is a communication that all empaths need to know, just because you're acting in a certain way and someone else is acting in their certain way doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. I did come from Codependence Anonymous and Al-Anon, and one of the things that we learned there is I didn't cause it, I can't control it, and I can't cure it. And that means that if you have someone in your life who has some unhealthy or addictive tendencies, you didn't cause it. And you also are not responsible for the imaging that they're giving you. If the imaging or the mirroring that they're giving you does not match your own, it can be incredibly difficult. This is something that I've had to deal with my entire life. But anyways, I'm very curious. I've seen a couple people stop in and I don't know if I can actually be heard. So I'm hoping that I can. If I can't, then I guess I'll just delete this later on. But this is all new to me. I know that I was sent here to pass along a big message. I am a starseed, but up until this point, I'm not really sure what that message is. I've gone through different periods of, inspiring, uplifting, and doing things like that. Also, I am an empath though. So it's like I come across people that can't mirror back to me what I'm giving. So that's interesting. So I'm not really sure. I'm giving this YouTube thing a shot. I'm really doing it in the way of having it not be perfect. I don't want to go about this where I have to be perfect. I tried to do videos in the past and it was like I had to have the perfect background and I had to get myself all made up. And, that's really a tough act to keep presenting over and over and over. And I've changed so much in the past 5 years. I mean, honestly, I moved to Florida like 3 years ago, and I hardly wear makeup anymore. So it's like I'm really into showing my authentic self. This is who I am. I worked out this morning. I homeschool my kids, so I spent time doing that this morning. And I'm in my den, and I've been a reader for a while. I've been a psychic and intuitive medium, a coach, and this is what I'm being called to do. So this is what I'm doing, and I'm just here to, to really say that you're not alone if you're an empath. And I've definitely been tapping into some collective energy of this sadness or fear or doubt, or is anybody ever going to understand me? That kind of thing. So I just really want to pass along the message. If not to all of you, I will probably end up watching this later on at some time, and I can tell myself that I'm not alone. And there is a reason that I'm doing what I'm doing. So I'm just going to pull some cards and let those speak. So for my own validation, the next card I got was, I am safe when I express my feelings. I can be serene in any situation. So it's really interesting too. You know, I try to be really gentle and delicate around certain people, but then there's other times where I just say what I need to say to a large audience oftentimes. So I would love to know if any of you guys are resonating with anything I'm saying. I'd love to know if you are an empath. What are your questions about that? And I'm going to move on to the next deck, which is the Cherub Angel cards for children. These are by Doreen Virtue. This is one of my favorite decks because it's very gentle and kind and loving. There aren't a lot of malicious cards in here. A lot of decks that I've picked up as a reader, I have to either take cards out or I end up getting rid of those cards because I just am not used to the heavy vibrations, the harshness, the criticism, and I can feel it in the cards. I can feel the emotions that came from the person who wrote it. So the next card that is coming up that just jumped out is so nice. And it says, everything will be okay. So I just want to tell you that everything will be okay. I'm telling my own inner child, everything will be okay. You know, this too really does pass. And I hate to sound cliched, but it really does. I find personally that time heals. It really does heal. So I see that somebody jumped on. If you can hear me, please, please type down in the chat that you can actually hear me because I don't know. Oh, yay. I got it. Thank you so much. Ha, I did not see. Okay, so I've got Stephanie and Amy. And Amy wanted to know if these were individual readings. These are general readings for empathic individuals. And Stephanie, thank you so much for telling me that I'm being heard. So I'm going to pick one more oracle card. All right, and I got artwork. That is the next card. So, you know, sometimes I'll pick the artwork card and I'm not, I just wanted to say I'm not an artist, but I actually am. I have my own meditation album. So I'm a writer, so that's artistry. But I guess in terms of, you know, being a painter, you don't necessarily have to be a painter. But I will paint things sometimes. Like I listen to my intuition. I listen to the visions that I get. And what I'm getting with this card is, you know, there's this little boy angel. He's playing a violin. There's a dog by him. So even if it's not related to the work that you're doing, it would be beneficial to you to do some type of creative work because what I'm hearing is there's restrictions going on. You know, as an empath, you have a higher vibration than most of the people on this planet. And it can be really difficult to fit in with other people who are in a lower vibration. You can feel their lower vibration. And you also are needing to interact with these people and you can see or feel things that most people can't see or feel. So it's like you're this keeper of information. And so I have a lot of chills right now. So I'm going to keep going because I know I'm on the right track. That's what that means for me. It can be really difficult to keep going. It can be difficult to be the person who is always giving. You're always inspiring. You're always trying to help the other person. You're trying to support the other person. And also I have to stop because I'm looking outside and there's this big pelican that's soaring outside of my window. And I know as someone who is receptive and open to signs that there are no accidents. And pelicans, I was hearing right away, pelicans are about opportunities. So something in your life, in the reason that you are here, and I'm getting now tingles on the side of my face. That's another way that I receive that this is aligned, this is divine guidance. Something in your situation, there is an opportunity for you. And I know it's so hard when you're in the thick of the throes of, you know, especially as an empath, just this heart, this emotional, you know, I know for me, I feel things so deeply sometimes and it isn't even mine the majority of the time. And then it's like, I go to tell the person about it and like try to dig down with them. And they're like, what do you mean? Everything's great. Everything's wonderful. It can be so difficult, but one of the things that I'm guided to say today is that if you feel it, you feel it. And it's about trusting yourself. It's not about, one of the things that I've learned is it's not necessarily about telling the other person that they're wrong. I know for me, people that are in a lower vibration, they don't want to be wrong. A lot of times, a certain group of people that are like, if they're really in their masculine energy, they don't want to be wrong. They can't even comprehend the fact that they could be wrong. And the last thing I need to do is like get into an argument with them because they're not hearing me. And I think, that's another thing about this whole situation that I'm feeling and tapping into that I even have experienced myself in the last 2 weeks. These people aren't awake. They aren't awake. They can't hear you. And it can be really painful. But sometimes if we can step back and just say, this is like talking to somebody that's asleep. This is talking to somebody that's asleep. Is this helping me? Is this helping them? No. And also I think too, another thing that I want to say is having compassion for yourself, having compassion for the other person, but also having compassion for yourself and allowing yourself to write down and to talk about these things that you're feeling is really important. So I just did the cards and I got the artwork again. So I'm really feeling like if you can talk about how you're feeling, journal about it, release it through your feet, release it to Mother Earth. Mother Earth is there to help you. Draw it out, scribble it out, box it out, do whatever you need to do where you can release this heavy energy because it's not what you're here for. I know it might seem like it. And, sometimes we are supposed to uplift other people, but we're not here to live in sorrow. That's not what we're here for. As an empath, you're living in your heart. You're living in your heart space. You are here to show other people how to connect with their heart. And you're also here because you are this upper bridge between the divine and the universe. And you have gifts that people in the lower energies do not have. So that's what I'm getting for that. I'm called at this moment to pick some Mother Mary, Queen of Angels cards. And, I know I just started doing this. I know that you're not familiar with me, but, I was raised Catholic. I now am open to all religions. And I work with many different ascended masters. I am not in this for, this person sinned, you did this wrong, you're being punished. That's not the space that I'm coming from. Thank you, Stephanie. Yeah, it's like you're living in your heart. You're living in your heart. I'm living in my heart. I know that. And, sometimes my heart, it's got those 3 swords through it from the 3 of Swords reading. And that's the heartache. And that can be so painful. The other thing I think with empaths is we signed up for this mission, like not to say you signed up to be punished or you've got karma that's coming back to punish you. No, you are, wow, I have like big chills. My whole body's in chills right now. You are here because you are an advanced soul. You can handle this. You can handle this. And you are here to spread love and light and to uplift the vibration of this planet. Just being who you are, just walking around being yourself without doing anything is uplifting the vibration of this planet. So make sure that you're taking time every single day to acknowledge all of the amazing accomplishments that you've had. Just by being you, just by being able to keep your cool, just by being able to feel this person's energy and not go crazy. Yeah. So anyways, Mother Mary, extremely nurturing energy. And if you're an empath, if you're the type of empath that I'm talking about, I know a lot of people these days are saying that they're an empath. It's the cool, unique thing. I don't believe that there are a lot of empaths out there. I don't believe that there are millions of people out there who are empaths. That's me personally. I just don't. Maybe that are being born right now, but in terms of, kindness and gentleness and seeing the good in people and this positivity, I think that there's a lot of people that can feel energy, but I don't necessarily think that that makes them an empath. I think that there are narcissists out there who can feel energy. I know there are. And they use that to their advantage. In my opinion, the difference between the narcissist and the empath is that the empath really wants the best for the other person. This person wants to help another person heal. Whereas a narcissistic individual uses the cues or they have a knack at feeling where a person's vulnerabilities are. And they use those. And I'm speaking in a very extreme way because I don't believe that everybody is 100% narcissistic or 100% empathic. Personally, I'm pretty close to 100% empathic. I feel a lot. And I have a lot of compassion for people. Anyways, unfortunately, narcissistic people can feel energy. And I do believe that those at the extreme end of the spectrum use that to maneuver and manipulate in negative ways because they lack empathy. Anyways, empathic people, in my viewpoint, in my book, need to do a lot of nurturing. Oftentimes they grow up in environments where nurturing wasn't there. They weren't nurtured. They think that something's wrong with them. They think that they're a bad person. I went through my life thinking that I was going to hell. I mean, flat out. And I can't even tell you, I got all A's through junior high school. I got all A's in high school. I was in advanced classes. I went on to get an honors scholarship in college, took honors classes, and it was like it was never good enough. Well, you know what I found out? Certain things weren't mirrored to me in the appropriate ways. And also, I was picking up on other people's energy and I was internalizing it. And as a result, I didn't feel good about myself, but it didn't have anything to do with me. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I definitely have made my share of mistakes. And, one of those is the assumption that everybody's on a spiritual path. That's something that just came to light to me in the last 24 hours, that I was assuming and having expectations that everyone out there is on a spiritual path. And they're not. They're just not. And I really do wake up every day with the intention of doing the right thing. And I made a mistake, so it's like, well, that allows me to have compassion for other people. I'm a life path 7. I'm a seeker. I'm a spiritual seeker. That's what I'm here for. But not everybody's here for that. Some people are here to build things. Some people are here to have great relationships. Some people are here to get out of debt, to break bondage, to do a lot of things. So anyways, Mother Mary, back to that. I'm sorry to keep jumping around here. What does Mother Mary want the empaths that are watching this video to know today? Boundaries. Boom. Boundaries. Okay. I am clear and honest with others about my expectations. So what was I just saying? I didn't even realize I was doing it, but that was a really good, helpful reminder to me because I also have expectations of myself at times that just aren't humanly possible to reach. Yeah, it's a good reminder. And the next card I got out for Mother Mary was prayer. So instead of worrying, I pray about the situation to bring real solutions. I don't know about you guys, but I have had a tendency to worry. I have what's called a type A personality. I don't know if we have any other type A's out there. But, worry kind of went hand in hand with that. I've been working on that for a long time. And in fact, when I came out as a psychic and medium and a coach and a speaker, I got a lot of information about worry and how to deal with worry. And I've got a whole talk on it. So, yeah. The last card I'm going to do from Mother Mary is giving and receiving. And I think, something, at least for me, that I can learn from a narcissistic person is how to receive. How to receive. I know how to receive certain things, especially in terms of spiritual information, intuitive guidance. I'm very good at that. I'm open and receptive to that. There are other things that I've come up, hit a block against. So I'm good at giving. I'm very good at giving. I'm a generous person. I think sometimes to the point where it's too much. But that's something that I'm learning. So now I can receive the lesson about that. Giving and receiving. So I don't know if there's anybody that's watching right now that's on, but if you have a request for anything that you'd like to know, I'm happy to do that. Oh, I also brought a couple crystals. Brought a couple crystals that are really good for empathic people. This is actually lavender rose quartz. So you've probably heard about rose quartz. I highly, highly recommend rose quartz for anybody who's empathic. It's amazing. It's such a beautiful stone of unconditional love. And I mean, just holding it in my hand feels great, but you can put that to your heart. Another thing for empaths is really allowing your heart to open. It's like a lot of times we're very pure, and it could be very difficult to see what is being mirrored back to us and to not take it personally. And so it's really important that if you do take something personally, or if you do encounter someone and there's a betrayal or there's something that happens, that you allow yourself to open your heart, that you allow yourself to forgive, and you allow that heart opening, allow that. I mean, it looks like gunk to me when I meditate, or even right now in my mind's eye, it's like gunk coming out of my heart. You've got to let that stuff go, because it can sit in there and fester. And I know how difficult it is. And I especially know how difficult it is if you're empathic, because if you're empathic, that means that you absorb things. You absorb things that belong to other people. And you also tend to hang on to those things. So that means that as empaths, we almost need to work twice as hard to release. So part of what I'm going to say today is make sure that you are aware of how to release things. I actually myself was guided to move to the Atlantic Ocean a couple years ago. It's actually right outside my window. I'm going to open my door wall. I don't know how much it's going to affect the sound, but maybe it will help anyone that's listening that needs to let go. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's always so beautiful for me to hear that ocean. And there's so many ways to release. You can release through your feet, really allow that gunk, more gunk, allow it to go into Mother Earth, allow Mother Earth to transmute that. Let's see, lava rock. Lava rock is a great stone for releasing. Smoky quartz is a great stone for releasing. And I am a contributor with healingcrystals.com. It's an amazing resource. I mean, we have so many free resources. The Facebook page alone, people are posting daily. Healingcrystals.com. People post, other contributors, crystal experts, not just for empaths, for anybody that's into crystals. You can learn so much, and it's like all free. So my door just opened. Journaling is great for releasing. Massage is great for releasing. Selenite. I've got this awesome selenite necklace. My husband got this for me. It's amazing. Selenite is a very cleansing stone. Other stones I brought for empaths. This is an angelite heart. Angelite is awesome, especially if you feel lonely, if you feel alone. You need to connect with those higher realms, because that is the place that is going to give you the guidance that actually mirrors who you really are. You are not going to find it in, probably, most likely, you're not going to find it in your parents. You're not going to find it in these deeply wounded people who, for one reason or another, are not interested in learning more about themselves or learning how to grow beyond these things. And, you know, it's not about judging that. That's something that I was reminded about in the past 24 hours. But you don't want to keep going to that place. There's a saying that we have in Al-Anon, We don't go to the hardware store for bread because they don't sell bread there. So you don't go there looking for bread and then come out feel so disappointed. You know, it's kind of a tough reality to swallow at times, but if you don't go there in the first place, you'll learn not to go there hoping for it over and over again. The other stone that I brought for an empath, not necessarily for absorbing, but for deflecting this energy, for deflecting other people's energy that's coming at you so that you do not absorb it, is this gorgeous labradorite sphere. I got this off of Etsy, but Healing Crystals has tons of labradorite, and I love the fact that I bought this. There were so many available, and as you can see, it has a heart right in the center of it, right here. Heart-minded, like I was saying earlier. And the reason that I bought a sphere, I have a lot of labradorite, but the reason that I got myself a sphere is that spheres emit the energy out from every single direction so that you're protected in every single way. And the last stone that I brought was this beautiful pink piece of pink agate. And I just love agate. I think it's so gorgeous. And as you can see here from this one, I mean, it's like you can just see where it was in the earth. And I don't know if anybody watching is into crystals, but if you are a very highly sensitive person or an empath and you feel good around animals or you feel good around nice children or in nature, my guess is that you're going to feel really good around crystals because they're, you know, there's really high vibration crystals out there. And one of my practices, and this is over a couple of years, but has really been to surround myself in the morning with a circle of crystals. And I just feel that energy, and it's just so pure and it feels very good. And it's a resource for me when I'm in this physical world and I can't find anybody in my reality that can actually reflect back to me my true self, my true essence. So there's that. I was really guided to bring these really cool fairy dust cards today, and I can't see who they're by. It does not say. So sorry about that from whoever they're by, but all right. So the first card that came up was learn. A little nudge, it's now your turn. Put on your thinking cap, it's time to learn. So I'm actually hearing that what I'm sharing is going to it's going to spark some learning in some of you. And earlier, Amy Bluebird, I love that, had asked if these are individual readings. Amy, I'm happy to pull a card for you. And the card that I got for you was fairy wings. In the forest, small lights glow. Those are fairies flying low. So what I'm hearing for you, Amy, is that the fairies want you to call upon them for manifesting. Just be careful. They are mischievous. I'm hearing that you can handle that. So you might have a little mischievousness inside of you. But they want you to call on them. And if you go in the forest, that is the best way to call upon fairy energy. Also doing things that are light and playful. And Stephanie, I'm going to pull a card for you. Beautiful. Because you've been here and you've said hello, and I really appreciate it. And Stephanie, your card is rainbows. In our forest, no trees debate. Rainbows stand with love, not hate. You're so welcome. So I'm curious if that means anything to you. The next card that I see underneath is rain. And this is so interesting because I live in Florida and we don't get a lot of rain, but there's some stuff going around across the country that's affecting our atmosphere too. And so this card says, rain, rain comes today. Let all your troubles wash away. I'm really big into symbolism. And I recently, a couple months ago, I looked up snow. Because my little daughter, who's 7, who is an old soul herself, she, you know, it's like out of the mouths of babes. She came in one day and she said, what does snow mean, Mommy? Because I'm raising my kids. I have 2 girls and I am myself. These girls really don't know anything different than having a mom who is a psychic, who is a medium, who's an empath. They've grown up learning about crystals, seeing me do my work, seeing me coach other people, seeing my husband and I grow spiritually because we're on a path too. Anyways, so she asked me questions like that a lot. This morning she was asking me about angel lights and what different colors symbolize which angels. So anyways, I looked up snow, and it actually stands for intuition. It's like the flakes are coming down and they're going a little bit slower for whatever reason. Wow, that's awesome, Stephanie. You were definitely meant to be here. That's awesome. So the snow is new knowledge, new intuitive guidance that's coming down for you. Rain, on the other hand, wow, I have like such chills. My legs are just total chills. Rain is definitely cleansing. Water is highly cleansing. Water stands for the emotions. It stands for intuition. Wow. Okay. So the next card I got is shake it off. If you fall and others jeer, just shake it off and walk with cheer. And I think that card was actually for me. That's my angels and guides telling me that I pulled cards for other people, so I need to pull one for myself and shake it off. You know, this is my first live YouTube, and who knows? I guess I have high expectations of myself, but I am so glad that 2 people showed up and gave me their comments. And I'm sure there will be a day when I'll look back and I'll say, oh, if only I would have known during that time that this would turn into such a great thing or whatever. So anyway, so that was the fairy dust cards. I guess I should wrap it up soon, but I feel like I'm going to do another deck of cards, and I'm going to ask, thank you, Jen. That's awesome. Thank you so much. You know, it's just, I've spoken in front of thousands of people, believe it or not. And I was terrified to do that, but I had this calling that I needed to do it. I just kept hearing, you've got to do this. You've got to learn how to do public speaking. I mean, I was absolutely terrified. I have a story about it where I didn't even really enjoy my wedding because there were like 250 people there, and I didn't like being the center of attention. I had a really, really hard time with it. Same thing with my showers. You know, it's like not really it's not a good way to live. So anyways, I had this calling. Nobody was making me do it except for my higher power. And it was like, you got to go to Toastmasters. You got to do this. And I kept, shaking it off and shrugging it off and no. And I just kept hearing it. And so if anybody's wondering, is this my intuition or is this something else? I would say one way to tell it's your intuition is, it's going to be something positive. But in this regard, it really wasn't something I wanted to do. I was terrified. I mean, it was just such a huge fear. But it did lead me to spreading my message on a wider scale. I did get asked to go to a place where I eventually was speaking in front of like 2,000 people easily, and really enjoying it. And the connection, the heart connection that I get with other people when I talk about my ideas or my guidance or whatever it is that I'm receiving, and somebody in the audience gets it when they say, wow, I heard you, you know what I mean? Or that really meant a lot to me, or I understood this, or how did you know this? It's huge, and it was definitely worth it. So anyways, you never know. I've never done a live YouTube. I actually just started doing YouTube again, and doing these card readings, which are really ad lib. I mean, it's like speaking on the spot, which is one thing that I learned when I learned how to do public speaking. But yeah, it's interesting. So, and then there's people that, give negative comments, but whatever. My guidance has told me to keep going, so I am. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pick a crystal, and actually I'm going to pick a crystal for Jen because she came on and told me. And so Jen, your crystal is Unakite. Unakite's a gorgeous crystal. It's green and like an orange color. And it says spiritual insight, balance, and release. You're very welcome. And I love this because, wow, because I feel like what I've been doing on this live is giving you some spiritual insight and talking about balance, especially in terms of giving and receiving if you're an empath. And also, I know for me, I could do spiritual pursuits like all day long at times. I get so deep into it at times and it feels good. And it's like, wow, I'm learning all this stuff. But then there's like practical reality. Or on the other hand, I might be really involved in practical reality, or I might get caught up in somebody else and their needs. And it's like, wait a minute, I've got to get myself back to myself. I'm curious if you have any Libra in your chart. And then also the last thing it says is release. And I was just talking about releasing, the ocean, a saltwater bath, releasing through your feet. A good friend of mine and a mentor told me that there is a point in the bottom of the foot, and it's like the kidney of your foot. And it's pretty much like where the arch of your foot, right inside there's like a spot, and you can visualize releasing whatever it is that you need to release into the earth. So that has helped me personally. And then the card I'm seeing on the bottom of the deck is Bloodstone. And Bloodstone is also a great crystal, especially for releasing anger. If you have anger, and everybody has anger. I did as an empath, it's like, I think I fought my own anger for a long time. I didn't believe that I was allowed to feel angry. I thought that I was supposed to be this perfect, feminine, and I'm sure that sounds silly, but I didn't realize that I was doing it. I stuffed a lot of my anger. Also as an empath, with the boundaries, the energetic boundaries or the psychic boundaries, a lot of times ours can be porous. That's why we're sponges. And anger can often be the symbol of someone crossing your boundaries. So if you feel angry, it's important to pay attention to it. My family and I, over the summer, I found this book on anger management, but it's for kids. A lot of times I love to read newer books that are about things like that are for children, because they're very kind and gentle and soft. And that's what I need most of the time. I'm not the kind of person that does well with harsh, do this, do that. It's like, I have enough of that going on. So anyways, it was a really good book about anger. And it talks about the fact that everybody has anger. And I think as an empath, at least for me, I was afraid of it. I was afraid of anger because it was such a powerful force. All right, I'm going to pick one more card for the collective here. So tell me what anybody that's going to see this video in the future needs to know. Beautiful. This is great. So it's Blue Tiger's Eye. And the keywords are emotional balance, soothing, and clarity. I think if you're an empath in any form of like what I'm expressing, of what I've talked about, I know there's different forms of empaths out there, but soothing, nurturing energy. And that's why I wrote this video is for empaths only. I don't want the wrong people to find this video. And I've had this happen. And then they think it's for them, but they're not empathic. People who are, I don't know. I've actually experienced where I've put up videos on my website for empathic people, and I've had very narcissistic people come and watch those videos and then use the video to justify their narcissistic behavior. That isn't what I'm about. That isn't what this is for. This is for people that need to pull back their energy to themselves a little more and keep it balanced so that they're also giving soothing and nurturing to themselves instead of beating themselves into the ground and giving all of their energy and time and space away to other people. So I hope that makes sense. And, I was going to say, I don't want someone who's a narcissist to say they need soothing energy. I mean, at the end of the day, people that end up narcissistic were severely, severely damaged and hurt when they were children. That doesn't mean, though, that you keep pouring yourself into them into a one-sided relationship. So I guess that's where the And somebody that is severely narcissistic, it's like a black hole. I mean, they will just keep taking. Their gift is in receiving. They know how to receive very well. I find that empaths, untrained, often tend to give more than they receive. But I'm not looking to make anybody believe what I believe. This is just what I've come to through my own work. So the last card is Blue Star Sapphire. Sapphire is a phenomenal stone for cleansing and clearing and balancing any of the chakras. I've done a lot of chakra work, and it's very interesting. Sapphire and emerald come up for almost every single chakra. This is how to release. This is a stone to use to balance these chakras. A lot of times empaths have difficulty with their first, second, and third chakras. And of course, the heart chakra. Our heart chakra can be so open, and we can experience a lot of trauma and then have difficulty saying no. And then we become, the word hardened came to mind. We can become hardened. We can become bitter. This is really a tough lesson to learn, but what I've experienced, I've come a long way in this regard. I think it's difficult because it's like you see the good in everybody. And that isn't what the earth is like. Not everybody here is 100% pure and innocent. But you've got to make sure that you're constantly clearing that gunk out of your heart chakra, that you're clearing those betrayals, you're clearing whatever happened, because it really, in the end, is just hurting you. And I'm not saying to go back to those people and let them keep doing the same thing to you over and over. That's not it at all. Use discernment with those people. But you also don't want to carry that with you. Hi. Are you an empath or a narcissist? I don't know. Tell me a little bit about yourself. And I also want to say that, we've all got shades of this going on. I will say that as an empath, I have at times been around narcissistic people who have like totally twisted things around in my head. And I have blamed myself for what's going on. And I have thought that I was the narcissist at the time. And that's a dangerous position to be in. So, typically there's different types of narcissistic people, and, narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, it's rare. I mean, it's, people kind of toss around the word a lot, but I'm talking about having every single characteristic. But it is out there. It is out there. And if you are an empath, you probably are attracting that type of person. But, typically you'll think about the narcissist as a grandiose person. Okay. Yes. Miss Ronnie, yes. You've been having energy sucked right out of you dealing with a narcissist. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes it's not even a narcissist. Sometimes it's just, I have kids, so sometimes it's a child. Oftentimes when we are having the energy sucked out of us by another person, they are in their child state. They haven't grown out of that yet. They were stunted somewhere. Keeping that in mind, I know for me personally has helped me to have compassion for that person, have compassion for myself, because that whole thing, I don't know why the word triangle is coming to mind, but that can be really, that merry-go-round can be really, really difficult. Yeah, that's a tough spot to be in. So what I pulled for you, Miss Ronnie, was green calcite. That's a beautiful stone. I don't know if you're familiar with crystals. Let me know if you are. Green calcite, you can actually put it inside of a plant. You can put it in the pot of a plant, and it will help the plant grow better. And so green, for those of you that don't know, green is the color of the heart chakra, pink or green. And green calcite is for emotional balance, healing, and release. So, and it says, I find pleasure in the simple joys of life. So, you know, if you feel like you're having that energy sucked out of you, great. Oh, malachite's awesome. Malachite, that's a phenomenal stone. Power stone. Red tiger's eye, fantastic. That's a great grounding stone. Amethyst is fantastic. Those are great. Those are great stones. Those are all great stones. Really, really good. What sign are you, Miss Ronnie? I hope I'm saying that correctly. Those are great stones. Red tiger's eye is really good for grounding. It's also really good if you're angry. And you know, from what I know and I have experienced, when your feelings are constantly minimized or denied, some people, if you experience gaslighting, okay, Leo, nice. So you got some fire. At least you got some fire. That'll help you. That will help you burn through any of this gunk, I guess, that's stuck there. That fire can also help you get yourself energized and motivated so that you can leave. You can actually leave that situation. It might mean that you're quick to anger, but I know for me, I hardly have any fire. You should see me in the morning, like in my daily practices, like what I do, I light like 10 candles because I have to bring that because I have a lot of water. I'm a Libra, so I have a lot of air. But I have a lot of water too. But I'm grateful for it because that's my intuition. That's where I get my intuition. I'm a Scorpio rising, so I've got that scorpion tail. That it's like, I'm really soft, I'm really open, I'm really balanced, I'm really giving, I'm really loving. You know, I've got Venus going on. But if I'm getting burned, you know, like 7, 8, 9 times, it's like, forget about it. That Scorpio comes up, and the Scorpio also helps me see into the depths of things. So that's good. Yeah. So malachite, I don't know if you know anything about malachite. That's such a great stone. It's so beautiful. It's like just beautiful. I mean, you could do like a mindfulness thing just with malachite in dealing with having that energy sucked out of you. You know, I don't know if you're looking for suggestions, but detachment is key with narcissistic people. It's going to help you to disengage your emotions from the situation. That's great. I'm glad that you were told to get it. It's a stone of transformation, period. That's what it is. It's for transformation. And I actually had just pulled a different card that was bismuth, it's called, and that's a stone of transformation as well. You know, the best thing to do if you're an empath and you feel like you're being sucked into a narcissistic relationship is to put some distance there, allow that person to show you that they are trustworthy. This is something that took me a long time to learn because I just trusted everybody. I mean, and even if they would like do things repeatedly, I would just be like, okay, you know, and like deep inside me, I knew something's not right here. But yeah, so it's like now I really try to, I try to like take one step, and then I try to let them take one step. And then I try to take one step, and then I try to let them take one step. That's what I'm trying to do right now. But some days I fail miserably, you know, and then it's like, and then I just learn the lesson again. I mean, the biggest thing is that it's like, for me at least, it's like I've got to always have hope, even in the darkest of times. I mean, even recently, over the past 2 weeks, this whole Scorpio season, regardless, always brings up so much stuff for me. It brings up so much stuff from like the depths, stuff that I thought I was done with, stuff that it was like the bane of my existence. So it's like every time Scorpio season rolls around, I'm kind of like, what's coming, you know? And the funny thing is, my parents have been coming into town for the last 3 years. And it's like every time they come for the whole month of November. And every time they come, I feel like there's this huge issue that comes up. And it's like, you know what though, it is what it is. So so we had that. Then we had this 11/11 portal. Now we're in Mercury retrograde, and then we just had a full moon. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on. For me, sometimes I get so emotional and take things so to heart and so deeply that I just have to tell myself, even amid the tears, that I know this is going to pass. I know that something better is coming. I just need to hang on, you know, hope. Hang on, pain ends. I don't know if you've ever heard that acronym, but I do. And it's like, I really have to take comfort in these little things, like looking out my window and wow, there's the ocean. Like, it's amazing. There's like this huge natural resource, or, you know, this crystal that's amazing. Or this is how I got into mindfulness. So I've got a couple mindfulness albums out, and I've taught mindfulness to schools and to children, to adults. And sometimes it's like, I just have to be in that moment. I just have to do something that's going to help me get through it. And then it's like, if I can do this thing that feels good, then I can do another thing that feels good and another thing that feels good. But it's like, I don't have all the answers either. But it's nice to know that there's a tribe out there. It's nice to know that there's other people out there that feel things, even that feel things as deeply as I do, or that are empaths, or that do have gifts. Or, you know, if you're on this channel, my guess is that you're somewhat of a pioneer in your family or in your circle. It's like, thank you so much. I'm so glad you did too. And I have so much I have a lot of free resources. I've been at this, not at this per se. I'm trying YouTube now, but I've been a coach. I've always used my intuition in my coaching, and it's actually helped. You know, it wasn't right away that I started telling people that that's what I was doing, but now I'm like fully out. But I've been doing the mediumship readings and the psychic readings and the card readings and all that for 5 years. I'm on my own journey, and I have problems that pop up all the time, but that's what I signed up for. So I think for me, the bottom line is I've got to maintain hope in all circumstances, because for me, that's the connection. That's the divine, the glimmer of hope that's coming. That's the divine. When I'm in these lower energies, I can't feel that. And honestly, I will tell you right now, I think I became a medium on accident. You've got to get into a really high vibration to be a medium, because what happens is you're just tapping into a different frequency. You're tapping into a different frequency. So the physical body, the spirit, the soul leaves the physical body, but that energy never dies. That's why I'm able to talk to my grandmother. I'm able to talk to my uncles. I'm able to talk to other people who have other energies of people that come to me for mediumship readings who have passed. But the thing was, I had spent like the whole previous year learning about Abraham Hicks, and raising my vibration. I actually like started and almost finished a book on getting into a high vibration. This was like 6 years ago, how to get into a high vibration. And I discovered, you know, when I do high vibration things, I get into a higher energy, and there's energies that are high and there's energies that are low. So there's, you know, shame is super low, fear, low, anger, low. Then there's love, that's at like a 500. Then there's compassion, that's at, I don't know, between a 700 to 800. So I know sometimes as an empath, it's like, how come I'm the one who has to do all the right things? How come I'm the one who always has to take the high road? How come I'm the one that has to be compassionate? Because it is hard. It's hard. When somebody betrays you, it is really hard to be, it's like to be able to look at it from all angles, number one. And if you're an empath, you probably do that naturally. You look at it from everybody else's angle. You know, you put yourself in other people's shoes. It's hard to deal with people that are in a low vibration. But the higher the vibration you get in, the easier it is to deal with. And you're, quote, high, because you can look down then, and you can say, you know, you can look at it from above. You can say, okay, you know, they don't mean this, or even if they do, they must not realize this. But it's hard. It is. Anyways, I was getting myself into a high vibration, and I started to get mediumistic stuff. My grandmother passed. She's probably the closest in my life to me, other than my parents, and she passed. That was really the first person that ever passed that was really close to me. And I started to see her. I saw her, and I was like, what, am I going crazy? I mean, I was psychic. I was very open. I also had I had a huge spiritual awakening, and I was in Al-Anon. I'm not supposed to say that, but it's like, I don't know how to express some of the things I've experienced without going into that. So I'm doing it. I had a massive spiritual awakening. I had like an out of body experience for like 3 days. As a result of working the steps, which was a lot of work. I mean, I put in a lot of time and work and tears and pain and opened up a lot of old stuff, but I cleared out a lot of old stuff. So anyways, the year after that, my stuff just busted wide open, my psychic abilities. I've always been able to feel, but I had no idea that nobody else could feel energy the way I could feel energy. And I grew up in an environment where there were addicts and alcoholics, untreated. And there's a lot of stuff that goes on there. There's a lot of denial in the people that are in it. It's such a difficult, it's so difficult. It's just so difficult. But when you can feel and when you can sense and when you can notice patterns, and you're a child, and you're telling the people you're in your environment, well, I'm feeling this. And they're saying, oh, no, that's not happening. When you hear that over and over and over, you don't believe yourself. You don't believe that what you're feeling is real. And it's not anybody's fault, because denial is a defense mechanism. It's a strong defense mechanism that is designed to psychologically protect a person. But no, it wasn't good for me. It wasn't good for me. And I still sometimes question my psychic impressions. I have done a lot of work, though, with my psychic development. And, it didn't just, I say, oh, it blew open. It did. But I then had to do more work. I had to take classes on psychic development. I spend 3 hours every morning, point blank, 3 hours in a circle every single morning. And I've done that for 5 years, I'll say. I have certain practices that I do every single day that have enabled me to get to the place that I'm at today. And even with self-love, I have certain self-love practices that I've been doing for 7 years, so it's like I've put in a lot of time. And I still have times when, especially if I get around people that remind me of my family of origin or my family of origin, like they haven't changed like I've changed. So, but I still have, there are still things that they might say. And I mean, this happened to me last week where I was like second guessing myself for a minute. And then I thought about it and was like, no, this is old. This is old stuff. I'm not going to go here again. And it is possible, I will tell you, as a psychic, or as someone that feels, I mean, if you can feel energy, you're psychic. That's another thing. That's like a big myth, or something that people don't talk about. They talk about clairvoyance, being able to see. That's the one that's really talked about. Or precognition, which is knowing what's going to happen next. Not all psychics have every single ability. And clairsentience, the ability to feel into energy, is a psychic gift. And I've got big chills. I know that there are people that are going to listen to this or that are on now that need to hear this message. Feeling energy is a psychic ability. Feeling energy. It's called clairsentience. And clair is French, and it means clear. And so clairvoyance means seeing. Clairaudience means hearing. So it's clear hearing. So you might hear words, or it can also be listening to YouTube videos, which is why I got started on YouTube. I mean, it's a big part of it. I was talking in the beginning about not having appropriate mirrors for you when you're a gifted person, or when you're in an environment where people are in denial, or people are blocked, or people they don't have the the ability to feel, see, or hear that you do, or sense. You're given this distortion back to you, which isn't healthy, I'm going to say, and it's not their fault. It just is part of it. So you may find yourself drawn to higher realms, which is why I'm talking about crystals, animals. It's so funny. There are people that view animals as these, just they're designed to work for us and they're designed to do this for us. And, there are animals that have abilities that are way beyond things that people could ever imagine. I'm not saying one is better than the other, but you may be drawn to the gentle nature of certain animals more so than people. Crystals and YouTube readings, divination. Divination has a lot of stuff around it, but divination is a way for you to get in touch with your higher self, with your guidance. And when you are surrounded with people that are not at the same spiritual level as you, you have to find that connection somewhere else, because otherwise you're just going to start questioning yourself. I mean, I don't know anybody. Well, I guess there are people. You would have to be really, really confident and steadfast in yourself to be able to be in an environment where everyone is constantly denying what you feel and see as true. And it's very oppressive. It's oppressive. So anyways, guys, it is 1:40, so I am going to wrap up, but I do want to leave you with one last card, and I'm going to leave you with one of the crystal animal totem cards. And Miss Ronnie, I'm seeing you've heard that you are a medium, I'm guessing. I don't know if it's a medium or a psychic. You haven't experienced anything yet. It'll probably happen when you least expect it. This is something that I'm also working on right now, is waiting for things to happen when they're supposed to happen instead of on my time. Thank you so much, Stephanie. I really appreciate it. Awesome. I'm so happy. That makes me really happy that you're learning a lot. I have a lot to share. I have a lot of knowledge. And for a long time, I tried sharing it, and it was like I wasn't getting to the right people, or it wasn't catching on, or I don't know. And I took it personally. Or people would, I experienced a couple bad comments or whatever. And then I allowed it to really stop me. And then I kind of spent a year or two feeling sad. I felt sad because I wasn't connecting with it. And, part of my path here isn't just to receive the knowledge, which I do. It's to share the knowledge. I'm a light worker. And when I'm not sharing the knowledge, I'm missing that. Connection. So, what I'm trying to do right now is not gauge everything so carefully, and to just kind of let go and just see what happens. So I'm so glad. And, it does. The other thing is, the thing that I've learned is, nothing in life is futile. It's like, there really is a silver lining in everything. And I've been criticized by people who say, you're too positive, blah, blah, blah. And, I've done the negative. I grew up in an environment where, not by anyone's fault, but I was kind of taught to be afraid of things, like to be afraid of society, and to be afraid if I didn't follow the rules. And I mean, of course, rules are important and laws are important, but there are times when you don't want to be boxed in. You don't that's why I'm homeschooling my kids. I found that it was too restricting for them. I want them to be able to be themselves, and I want them to be free. Anyways, I honestly don't even know where I was going with that. I don't even remember. But, and then I had this big spiritual awakening, and I realized being scared and living in this limited mindset, or the space where everything's out to get me. And that's kind of how I was raised. It's never going to change, and I could never do any better. And I mean, it's so negative. And if I have that mindset, nothing is going to change. But I've been on both sides, and humans are wired to look for the negative. That's also something I've learned. But it's so much easier to live in the positive. It just is. It takes work, but it is, at least for me. So, and I also know there's not one thing in my life that I've gone through that I have not experienced something good out of. Even the narcissist, like I was talking about, there's something I can actually admire in them. Their confidence. I admire that. I admire the ability to just go out and just blah. Like I, for a long time, couldn't do that. I was afraid. I was afraid of what people would say about me. I was afraid of what people would think of me, so I admire that. I don't admire not having any empathy. But again, it's like we all are born with our different paths. So, and I've learned a lot from narcissistic people. I would say I've learned probably more than anyone. So I'm grateful for it. I am grateful for it. Did it hurt at times? Absolutely. But I'm grateful. So even with this, it's like, even if nobody showed up, I would still learn. Well, and then it's like, I can leave and I can say, well, nobody showed up because my content sucked or whatever. Or I can leave and I can say, good job for doing something new. That's amazing. Let me see how it goes. Let me see if people comment on the video later, or, maybe my content didn't suck. Maybe I just did it at a time when everybody was out to lunch. You know what I mean? So yeah. Anyways, all right, Spirit, give me a message for a takeaway. Give me a takeaway. Wow. Okay, this is great. I don't know why I'm surprised. Frog. Thank you, Rochelle. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's not easy. It's not easy. And I was talking to a mentor coach of mine yesterday, and that's something else about me. I have a coach. I have a spiritual advisor. I talk to them every week. I'm doing 3 this week because I had a little bit of a bumpy ride last week, and it was like, I got to get more support. Sometimes I just need to talk to somebody who gets me, and not everybody gets me. I mean, and if I've surrounded myself with people I grew up with and my family of origin, I would feel really alone. And it's like, everybody needs to be heard. Everybody needs to be acknowledged. Everybody needs to feel understood. And the people around us, it's not their fault, but there are a lot of people that they just can't. They can't hear you, because they're asleep still. And I think, one of the things about being a spiritual pioneer, which I'm going to say right now, if you're watching this, you are. And it can be lonely. It can be a really big load. You've got to surround yourself with people that get you, at least part of the time. I'm not saying to, leave everybody in your life, but it's like, you've got to have support too. You've got to have support. You've got to know that there are people out there that understand you. I mean, I don't know about you, but I had some really dark times in my childhood and even in my adulthood a couple times where I've gotten so down and filled with sorrow, and I felt so alone and so different. And the swan just popped out, which is beautiful. That swan is about being different and being beautiful. Because you're different. The ugly duckling story is about a swan. And I mean, that's like the perfect analogy right now. Of course that duckling or that swan isn't going to look like any of the other ducklings. Did it make it ugly? No, it ended up being completely gorgeous. I mean, now look at it. It's like, it's got the thing of ducks, and then there's this beautiful, graceful swan. But that swan grew up hearing, you're not like us, you're no good. No, the way that you talk isn't the same as us, so you're no good. I mean, geez, that poor thing. That takes a lot of time to undo that, and that stuff, if you're an empath, that stuff's stored in you. That's stored in your body. That's why it's so important to do the releasing work that I was talking about. And to be so kind and gentle to yourself. And when you feel alone, look for higher guidance, look for a higher ground, and sometimes that might just be going into nature, whatever it is. Like, you're not going to get it from those ducklings who don't understand you. Like, and I know I was talking to my mentor and she was like, you signed up for a big assignment. You signed up for a big life assignment. And I did, and I mean, that's not even to blame myself. It's like, I did it because I've been here before and I have wisdom. These other people are beginners. They're like neophytes. I mean, not all of them, but anyways, the card I picked was Frog originally, and this is such a beautiful card. I was just talking to one of my daughters about it's the Apache Tears. This is such a good stone for empaths, especially if you have sorrow or if you have baggage that you've been carrying around for other people. That is something that empaths do. And we might do this as children. We might be oh gosh, the word that's coming to my head is like a sacrificial lamb. I hate to say that. And I don't want to inspire hatred or anger or bitterness toward anybody that's in your life. These people did not know what they were doing. They did not realize what they were doing to you. They didn't know the harm. And also, if you do take the viewpoint that you knew what you were coming into, this is one of your lessons. Not in a punishing way, but this is something that you're here to overcome because you are strong enough that you chose to do this here. That's up to each person individually what they believe. I know for me, it brings me peace. It helps me to release some of that, the mindset that people are doing things to me or that I'm being continually hurt. It also helps me really come to terms with why babies die. Like, I used to have a really difficult time understanding that, or why are children born with cancer? When I heard the idea that we each are choosing what is happening to us, that's a different viewpoint that gives me a sense of, I don't know if it's control or understanding, but it helps me come to terms with things that are really difficult to comprehend otherwise. So anyways, Apache Tears, perfect example. So I happened to see a worksheet, one of my kids, because I homeschool, was the Apache, the Trail of Tears, the Apache, the Indians that were forced to leave their homes. They had people, government officials, people that were in power drove them out of their homes. It's very sad when you read it. It can appear very sad. And it's a great cleansing stone. It's actually a form of black tourmaline. And if you're sensitive, black tourmaline should be your new best friend. It's a great stone. It's a very protective, shielding stone, but also will take negative energy for you. The thing I love about crystals that are meant for this is that they literally open themselves to take this energy from you. The earth also opens itself. The Mother Earth wants to take this energy from you. The Mother Earth will recycle this energy and then send up new energy. You can feel safe unburdening yourself with that. So the Apache were forced from their homes and created what's called the Trail of Tears. It can be a very sad story, but if we think about now, what have we learned from this? What have we learned from this experience? Yes, it was very sad. I did some deep work with this with one of my daughters last year because she had to do some projects on it. We're able to see even the consciousness of our planet has raised. We're at a higher vibration now. People, there used to be times thousands of years ago, and there probably still are in hopefully only a few areas of the world, but where barbaric acts are being committed. People thought it was cool. They cheered it on. We're not in that anymore. We're in the age of equality. Let's treat each other equally. Let's treat women equally. Let's treat transgender people equally. And, thank goodness. So anyways, the frog. Ancient wisdom, transformation. So if you think about a frog, if you're listening, you're transforming. A frog goes from a tadpole into a frog. You're transforming. You were born an empath. You were born a highly sensitive person, and you're becoming an empowered empath. There's a big difference between an empowered empath and an empath who is unaware of what is going on and has no ability to protect themselves or to use discernment. So this is just part of the journey that the empath is on. It's a beautiful journey. The frog is also about prosperity. And I will tell you personally, I went through a lot of stuff in my childhood. I went through a lot of pain. I'm sure there's people out there that have had it worse than I have. I know there are. I'm sure there's people that didn't have it as worse. I went through a lot of pain. I felt very lonely. I didn't feel like I fit in. Even in high school, I could not. I tried. I really, really tried. But there were times where I would just feel so sorrowful. I actually tried to commit suicide a couple times. I couldn't. There were times when I just couldn't get a hold of these emotions. And you know what, though? It's led me to become very compassionate and to seek out knowledge about all of these things. And now I understand things, and now I can be more empathetic to people when they're in dire circumstances. But what I was going to say is that I really do believe, and I have seen in my own life, when something comes against me that is negative, I am always paid back double. And I have experienced that. I am at a place in my life right now that is beyond my wildest dreams. Even though I say, everybody has issues that come up, and I have issues. But overall, where I live, the fact that I have 2 homes in 2 different places, in amazing places, the fact that I've been able to really create the life that I want, and I'm able to live my divine purpose, that's the top of the pyramid, the self-actualization. Most people don't ever get to that place. I'm able to share my gifts. I'm not living paycheck to paycheck. Like, my difficulties have been paid back to me double. And I know that that is going to occur for anybody who's watching that. So I'm so grateful to everybody that came on. Thank you, Janice and Rochelle and Stephanie and Miss Ronnie. I have a website that's full of free resources. I have free meditations. I'm doing these YouTube videos. I've got a bunch of pick-a-card readings out so far. I have a newsletter. I have so much stuff. I used to do a radio show. I did that for a year. I have free radio show episodes up on my blog. I actually came from the business side. So I have stuff about practical things like time management, everything from that to mindfulness, to stress relief, to this, to readings, to mediumship, to cards, whatever. So I hope you find what you're looking for, or at least are guided to the next person that will help you. And I really do wish you all an amazing day. Thank you so much for spending some time with me and for being here and being such a gentle and nice audience during my first live, and for not eating me alive, because I've experienced that too. And it's not fun. It's not fun. Nobody, I've seen celebrities do the mean tweets on, I don't know if it's Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon, but geez, it's they're human. They're human. So anyways, you are so welcome. You're welcome. And I hope that you stick around. And also, I am running a contest. So you can get, if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, you can get a free 1-card reading from me, which you already got today. You can get another one if you win. And my free unblocking abundance meditation. That's a great meditation that I have. So thank you all. I appreciate you. And I hope that you have a great day. Bye.